Maybe someone's a fan of my artwork. Artwork speaks. They just filed this and I just read it right now and I'm like, is this for real? Oh my God. Okay. So I did some artwork and I put it on the Insta. Okay. Oh my God. I was debating if I should put that up or not. I was like, am I gonna get attacked? I don't know. Okay, so Alec Baldwin had no control over his own emotions on Rust. They claim in a new legal filing. Well, okay, so my point to that whole thing was because when I was listening to some of the arguments and why they held that girl totally accountable, they said, basically it's your job to control him. And I go, are you kidding? It was this line of something. And I was like, it's not women's jobs to control these psychotic men. I know you guys all have thought that throughout history. It is not our job to control psychotic men. We're not their therapist. We're none of these things. And I even hear women going, yeah, he ended up being like their therapist. I'm like, well, we're not their therapist and they should go to one. That's the problem here, right? Anyways, so they legitimately filed something. So they said special prosecutors in New Mexico claim in a new legal filing that actor Alec's behavior on the Rust movie set contributed to safety compromises that led to the fatal shooting, which was true because when they were making these arguments, they were saying like he was like going off when they said stop and he started still shooting and they're like, and then they got mad at him. And then he's like, we need to get more done now. Like he's going all like this. And you know how Alec is, right? He like literally beats up on men and everybody else. He's like a Depp, right? He's like this bully guy. And then he outright said, yeah, I bully women. And I'm like, wait, we have to control that. That's wrong. That's not on us. That is legitimately not on us. Men need to be accountable for their psychoticness. So they filed this and they and I put it up 2 days ago or yeah, something like that. Anyway, it's just that thing. Maybe it helped him think about what else should we go for him. I was like changing his story. Yeah, he kept changing his story about the events of the shooting, and he had absolutely no control of his own emotions. Yes, that's been his problem, like throughout this whole time, right? You could go back 20, 30 years. The dude is like haywire. I go, how come all these people want to keep like locking the women up? And I go, this guy hasn't even been 5150'd. I mean, he's that out of control. Yeah, and a lot on women. So who gets harmed? It's not a guy. Well, a guy did almost get harmed in this. I think he got I don't know, something happened to him. But the person that gets totally harmed in the story, in all his stories, is women. And it ends with a fatal thing. Yeah. Okay, so a representative for Baldwin declined to comment on the new filing. The filing says during the first days on the set, Baldwin demanded the crew and the armorer, Hannah, work faster. Relentless rushing of the crew on the movie set routinely compromised safety. She doesn't have she technically doesn't have like authority over Alec. He's like the director person, right? So she can only be there to tell him, okay, you need to do this. And then he's going to go off and do his own thing. And that's basically kind of what happened there. So that was just some of my, thing in that story. Baldwin, according to the filing, frequently screamed and cursed at crew members and himself, or at no one in particular. No one in particular? He's just yelling out loud. He's like, damn, oh. He's like the Golden State Killer. They were calling it, what they call it, Mr. Happy. I could have put that on another arm of it. Oh, well, anyway. On the set and had absolutely no concern for how his conduct affected those around him. Witnesses have testified that it was this exact conduct that contributed to safety compromises on set. Like the only time if you ever get me in a bad, like when I'm going off is usually when somebody's taking advantage of me. Like it would be on government shit. I'm like, or, something of the related thing. Um, but when I worked with my band, I've never screamed or yelled at anybody. I've never done that. You could ask them. I haven't talked to them in eons. I've never acted like that. The people that get my wrath, or like Baldwin would get my wrath, because I know that that's also how he would respond. He would only respond to me talking to him like that, right there. That's what I'm talking about. You couldn't talk to Baldwin like a normal person. I was trying to point this out. I go, it's so crazy, the psychology to this. Baldwin responds to screaming, yelling, cursing at crew members. Can you imagine what his parents were like at home? They must have did this shit to him. Because then, if I talk to him as a normal person, right, and I'm like, Baldwin, you need to stop doing that on the set because it's really dangerous. He'd be like, I will get you get this, da, 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 da. You know, it'd be this thing. So then I have to go, shut the fuck up, Baldwin. You're going to get everybody fucking killed out here. That's how I'd have to talk to him. And then he might actually listen. He actually might listen. It's the craziest shit. That's how psychotic that is. But that's child abuse. Okay. In January, Baldwin pleaded not guilty to an involuntary manslaughter charge in the shooting. Okay, so we know that story. And then the combination of Hannah's negligence and inexperience with Alec, complete lack of concern for the safety of those around him, would prove deadly for Helena. Yeah. So I don't exactly. Some of the things with the Hannah story was kind of weird. So yeah, I mean, there may have been some negligence there with the not doing this thing, but ultimately, like in the bigger picture of the thing, the person who like has the most like problem in this story is Alec. I mean, it really is, because he controls that set. So if she's being inappropriate or, you know, any other thing like that, it's really on him to control that right there, right? And make sure that everybody's doing their job. And if somebody's not doing their job, then they need to get rid of them, right? I mean, so it kind of like the liability mostly lies on Alec. I mean, at least in this story, because he was the one also that shot them and then wasn't listening to procedure properly. He wanted to go against things. And yeah, so I mean, at that point, it wouldn't be her at all, you know, at that stage of things. But so then it says this is an abuse of the system and an abuse of an innocent person whose rights have been trampled to the extreme. His lawyers said, oh yeah, he's a victim. He's a victim. And it magically went off on its own. He didn't even take accountability that he shot it. He's like, it just magically went off. I didn't do anything. Like, that's insane. I was like, okay, well, that's just going up and beyond. It's not like, oh, I shot it and I didn't know there was a bullet in it. It's like, I didn't do no, I went off on its own, man. Oh, he's so terrible. Imagine being his wife. You guys, these people do not come out in the open. She probably loved him all to death and everything. But if he talks to people that way on a daily and to the air, yelling to the air, and he has a past history of domestic violence, yelling, and degrading women and all that, his wife is taking it hard. I mean, she getting it. She getting it and she putting up with it. And she shouldn't. That's scary. We know how he's going to be with other women. So it's just that thing. Do you need to be rescued? Let us know. You're like, knock once. Like, okay.